Phone boxes were essential for decades, but with the rise of mobile phones, the necessity isn't there anymore. GIB Telecom has a universal service obligation to maintain the payphones around the ROC. The regulatory authority's consultation will review this obligation and decide if it's still needed.
Prior to the pandemic, there were about between 30 and 40 odd payphones, and the GRA, in conjunction with GIB Telecom, agreed to a payphones rationalization program where we would see a gradual, slow removal of payphones around the ROC, or the superfluous payphones that weren't being used, on the basis that we would retain 9 payphones around key locations around the ROC. And now we're carrying out a public consultation because we want to assess the remaining 9 payphones that are left. We really want to find out, are the public, gauge the public's perception. Do they think this is sufficient? Are there enough payphones around the ROC? Are there certain areas that perhaps they feel that payphones should be reintroduced, retained, or removed in their entirety? We want to find out if members of the public feel that if the universal service obligation to provide payphones on GIB Telecom was removed in its entirety, would that be detrimental to Gibraltar?
If the GRA decides GIB Telecom shouldn't be forced to maintain the phones, the decision wouldn't stop other providers from doing so if they wished to. Payphones could serve as a lifeline in emergency situations. If your phone runs out of battery and you're in a jam, they could come in handy. But are people using them in those types of situations?
In this last year, there's been hardly any usage whatsoever. In actual fact, 8 out of the 9 payphones have not recorded a single call. One of them registered 4 calls throughout the year, all of them to the same number, which would indicate that it's the same person calling. So really, they are not in use for what they're intended to be used for. But unfortunately, it also attracts quite a high number of vandalism. It's almost every week that we suffer some damage to some of these payphones, from all sorts, from sticking stickers on the walls to breaking the window panes. As of late, we had someone that actually broke the door. We've had people using them as public toilets, unfortunately. Our aim would be actually to remove them in totality. That would make sense. We do recognize that some of these booths, again, are quite iconic, but we do not feel that that is a telecom services provider's obligation of sorts for us to have to keep them up and running, clean, tidy and safe.
Aside from their practical use, these red telephone boxes have become a tourist attraction, a link to Britain and a part of our heritage. But are these old treasures draining resources that could be better used elsewhere? And when was the last time you used one?
1977.
Maybe, yes.
I can't remember, years and years ago.
To post on social media.
Can't remember.
Could have them for photos, people like it, but never used one.
Before having a mobile phone, using one after school to call my mum, probably.
How would you feel if we didn't have them in Gibraltar?
No, I think we'd be sad about it because we love having.
I think it's
symbolic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in Gibraltar, we're really a lot about that. So
we like history. Yeah, we're quite traditional in that sense.
It's symbolic. Like she said, the tourists always taking pictures, so it's part of our culture. I mean, it is.
It shows the Britishness of our place. Of course, we are British and we are Gibraltarian, but I do think it's also a tourist attraction as well.
It's worth keeping them for that perhaps, but yeah, I guess it's an issue of cost, and it's a shame to see them vandalised.
I like walking past the phone boxes every day and it feels like they've always been there, so I would like them to always be there.
The amount of people that you see photograph themselves at the one in the casemates tells you that you don't want to lose them. I think instead of you can take away the phone and use them as libraries.
It seems many are more concerned with the boxes than the phones inside them, as a cultural symbol rather than a telecoms tool.